Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're gonna be reacting to
The Dutch government collapses. What's next? Elections?
Just when I thought the election season was finally coming to an end, the Dutch government throws a spanner in the works.
He's so happy
yeah,
though.
he's so happy.
he loves he
Look
loves
at his
this.
face.
He loves look at him. Yeah,
He has
he
he has
loves
a
this.
natural glow.
The Dutch ruling right-wing coalition, led by Prime Minister Dick Schoof, collapsed
It's like there's some shit going down in some country. He's like, oh, I love this. You know how like we like the tea
Tea,
from
that's it.
artists or whatever. He loves the politics tea.
Tuesday morning. Why? Because Geert Wilders, the leader of the far-right PVV and part of the government, pulled his party out. His official reason? Immigration. No signatures for our asylum plans. Therefore, the PVV will leave the coalition, he wrote bluntly on X. Now, this really does come at a terrible time for the Netherlands, though. In just a few weeks, the Netherlands will host a NATO summit, with Donald Trump and European leaders attending. Meanwhile, the war in Ukraine continues, and across the continent, political instability is piling up. So why did Wilders walk out? And what will most likely happen next? To answer that, we need to rewind a little bit. The Netherlands held elections about a year and a half ago, in November 2023. Geert Wilders' Party for Freedom, or PVV in short, shocked many by winning the most seats in the parliament, a major win for the far right in Dutch politics. But in the Netherlands, no party governs alone. Coalitions are standard and often take months to form. This one took 8. Eventually, 4 parties came together. The before-mentioned PVV from Geert Wilders,
Like the government ain't do shit for 8 months.
Wow.
They just sit around holding hands, oh, it should be for. Well, I mean, I guess they do something, but they can't like really pass anything for 8 months. That's crazy.
the VVD, the traditional center-right party, the NSC, a relatively new centrist force, and the BBB, the pro-farmer party. Together, they held 88 of the 150 seats
Very many right-wing parties. So,
in the parliament, a working majority. But crucially, Wilders did not become prime minister. You see, that was part of the deal. In order to get all the other parties on board, he agreed to step aside. Instead, they chose Dick Schoof, a technocrat with no party affiliation. As a former intelligence chief and top civil servant, he was seen as the neutral choice. From the start, though, the coalition faced serious challenges. Polls show that many voters, including PVV supporters, grew frustrated with the government's performance, and that's because many of the promises made simply weren't delivered. Take housing. The Netherlands is in the middle of a massive housing crisis.
No.
Nearly 400,000
isn't?
homes are needed. But instead of accelerating construction, the government proposed a 2-year freeze on social housing rents. Critics said this was a quick fix that would not
Freeze
solve
on
the real
rent,
problem.
so the prices don't go up.
social housing rents. I'm not exactly sure what that means.
Uh,
Freeze on social housing rents. What is
Big one.
social housing? Like housing homeless or like low-income people? Is that what it
oh,
is?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Which is that not enough homes are being built. Some housing corporations even warned it would halt construction altogether. Then there's political infighting. The coalition pretty much started with a bang before it had even taken office. Wilders called the incoming prime minister, Dick Schoof, a slappe hap, which basically means something like weak sauce, and made it very clear he wasn't exactly thrilled with the arrangement. More recently, the Dutch
Giving Trump of the Netherlands, huh? Weak sauce.
Foreign Minister called for a review of the EU's association agreement with Israel, citing the humanitarian situation in Gaza. Wilders lashed out again. He called the move ridiculous anti-Israel measures and complained his party had not been consulted. But of course, the big one is immigration. Back in October, Wilders pushed for a national state of emergency to force stricter asylum laws through, without needing parliamentary approval. And that brings us to last week, when things escalated again. Wilders held a press conference and unveiled a 10-point plan aimed at radically cutting migration. It includes proposals like deploying the military to guard the borders and rejecting all asylum seekers, no exceptions. He also called for a freeze on family reunification for refugees and said that Syrian asylum seekers, even those with protected status, should be sent back, claiming large parts of Syria are now safe. Wilders also
I mean, this is not necessarily wrong, though, the Syrians to return home. Because if, you came because there was a war going on, some shit, so you survive, right? You don't get killed or injured or whatever. The war is over, the country is recovering, and we have seen that in other reactions that Syria is actually trying to rebuild. So it seems like then they're on, up and up. People should go home. It was a temporary stay. It wasn't a permanent stay. Like, when your house is being renovated, there's a fumes you can smell in. It smells bad. You go to
Yeah.
your family to stay for a couple of days. It's the
But the
same
thing
thing.
is, when you stay at your family's, it's not like going to be the most comfortable compared to your home.
Yeah.
Because your home, you can have more
Right.
space if you go back to
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So now they're going back to. They gotta go
But
back
do they
to
have
home.
space? Do they feel they have space when they go back home?
Well, the government has to figure out what to do with
Yeah,
their
that's the
citizens. The
thing.
government has to give them houses now, or like some sort of housing. I don't know how they're gonna figure that out, but that's not Netherlands' problem, not Europe's problem overall. The whole Europe should take this approach, honestly.
Also proposed deporting dual nationals convicted of violent or sexual crimes. He insisted his party had been reasonable.
I don't know about that. If you are you are dual national, but you're still national of the Netherlands. How the fuck are you just gonna deport your citizen?
Oh,
That's
what
fucked
it
up.
means?
Yeah, yeah. Well, dual national. So let's say somebody has a citizenship of Netherlands and the States, American. So American Dutch. He has both. They committed the crimes. They live in the Netherlands, and they was like, oh, let's send him back to America, cause
Oh.
what? He's still Dutch. Like what? That make no sense. Like you can't do that. He's still. Now, if you want to revoke citizenship because of the
I
crimes,
think, yeah.
but then that says, what kind of precedent does that set? Start revoking citizenship because of
I don't know.
crimes?
And maybe that's the condition to having those things.
I don't know. As far as I know, you get citizenship. That's it. You're a citizen. I
Mm.
don't think your citizenship can be revoked, because then they can revoke. Oh, you just have one citizenship. You know what? You meet the criteria for revocation. Let's revoke his citizenship.
Joe Judice, he didn't have citizenship,
No, he
but
had a green
he
card.
had a green
Yeah.
card.
No, green card. Permanent, permanent residency is different than the citizenship. Citizenship is like you a citizen, like you vote, you everything. Nah, that's fucked up.
And patient for the past year, and declared that our patience is up. And that's when the ultimatum came. Either all three coalition parties, the NSC, VVD, and BBB, sign the plan, or the PVV walks and the government collapses. Now, to be fair, the three coalition parties weren't necessarily opposed to many of Wilders' points, but they were simply not impressed by the threat. Their response was clear. Tough asylum measures were already in the coalition agreement, and those should be passed through the parliament the normal way. And if Wilders had new ideas, he was free to propose them, debate them, and push them forward like everyone else. They also pointed a finger at Wilders' own party, claiming the delays on asylum policy were coming from within, specifically the asylum minister, Marjolein Faber, from the PVV, who has yet to deliver any major legislation in parliament. But Wilders saw it differently. I asked for their signatures, they refused. They told me to submit a proposal or ask my minister, but that's no guarantee. So he walked, and just like that, the coalition lost its majority. The reaction, it wasn't great. Most of the coalition partners seemed genuinely stunned. Van Vroonhoven from the NSC called it irresponsible and incomprehensible. Caroline van der Plas of the BBB was blunt. He's not putting the Netherlands first, but Geert Wilders first. And Dylan Jesselgus from the VVD said that the only thing I see here is someone who refuses to take responsibility, accusing Wilders of putting his own interests above the country's. She also offered a different take, arguing that this was never really about asylum. The coalition was about to face a big budget debate, including a likely increase in NATO defense spending, which meant tough choices and billions in cuts. At the same time, Wilders' plans for a rent freeze and a so-called grocery bonus were becoming harder to defend, and therefore Wilders wanted the coalition to
Grocery bonus. That sounds like they want to give money to people for groceries. That's interesting for a right wing to decide to do that, but I'm not sure.
fall, so that he didn't have to disappoint his voter base. So, now what? Well, in theory, the remaining parties could try to continue as a minority government. That would mean no majority in parliament and having to gather support vote by vote in the Tweede Kamer. But that idea is already dead in the water. Opposition parties, like the center-left alliance GroenLinks PvdA, have ruled out stepping in to replace the PVV. But most importantly, Dick Schoof has already resigned. That makes him one of the shortest-serving prime ministers in Dutch history. This means that the remaining three parties will now carry on as a caretaker government until, you guessed it, new snap elections are held, most likely after the summer break. Now, let's talk polls, because things are super tight.
He's
Three
so
parties are
excited
facing
about
neck
his
and neck with a
He loves elections. Oh my god. I mean, it's a competition, you know. If it's, you know, I
Around
get it.
Did he
18 to
cover South Korea?
No, I think he's as focused. His channel is European Made Simple, I think.
Ah.
Let me see. Yeah, EU Made Simple. Yeah, so it's only about EU.
20% of the vote. Wilders' PVV currently still in first place, Timmermans' center-left PvdA GroenLinks in second place, and Jesselgus' center-right VVD. And the big question is, will voters punish Geert Wilders for walking out? Here's what I think. It's remarkable, really. The PVV became the largest party, got control over the asylum ministry, and had major parts of its platform taken on by the coalition. And yet Wilders still blames everyone else for the lack of progress. I actually agree with some of the points on his list. I think a lot of people do. But his party holds the asylum ministry, and he's in the government. It's his job to now deliver. It feels there's a political instinct at play here, always pointing outward, never inward. Problems in the Netherlands? Blame the immigrants. Coalition stuck? Blame NSC. No action from his asylum ministry? Blame the rest of the cabinet. It's populism at its finest. Shout the loudest, promise the most, and when it comes to actually solve things, vanish or blame someone else. Thank you so much for watching, and let me...
Okay.
Answer the comment.
Mm-hmm.
What's his name?
This guy's name? I don't know. At least they didn't eat this prime minister. What? You know he's Dutch because he says schoof the way it's supposed to instead of skoof. Also, he's Dutch. So that's his home country. That's why he's so excited.
Okay.
I mean, he's been excited in all the elections.
Yeah.
But today he's super excited.
Particular.
Yeah. Shout the lie with this, promise the most, and when it actually comes to solve things, vanish or blame someone else. 100% true. Like Denmark a decade ago, further right becoming part of coalition, not able to work together with others, only good at being loud. Then they started to disagree within, as many have a kind of wannabe alpha male, female mindset. They were 22%, now they are 2%. Oop.
Okay, guys, of course, let us know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Join the Discord. And as always, share as much kindness as possible.